Hello and welcome to a new tutorial. Today we are working with After Effects. Today I'm grabbing some footage from Sport TV, and what I'm doing is transforming this footage like it was a game from FC 2024 or FIFA, some version of it, or Pro Evolution Soccer or something like that. You know, when you have the players, and here you can see the goal from Ronaldo and Bruno Fernandes and from Portugal. This is where I am from, and today we are doing some graphics and make it look like a game, and this is the final result. What's going to happen is we're going to have some, that little picker, the game, and then it changes from Ronaldo to Bruno Fernandes, and we have also that little line following the player on his feet. And as you can see, if we zoom on this, the quality of the footage is not too good, but it's doing some masking around the player, and we're going to go and see how I did this. For this tutorial we're going to use some tools, mainly tracking and also some shape, but this is the tutorial from After Effects. Starting from the beginning, what I did is grabbing some footage. I grabbed in, I'll mark the in and out on the footage. From here I don't want that footage, I just want this little piece of footage right about here. So I'm going to create a new composition using this file, and usually what I do, I just grab the file from the video and grab it into the new composition. Now I have a new composition. The composition is all the footage that I have. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to first track Ronaldo. What I'm going to get is, let me get here to window, workspace, all panels, so I can have access to all panels here, and go into the tracker. I'll set a track motion because I want to track Ronaldo. And here, once you set the track motion, it will open up the layer, and this is what we need. So this tracking point, once you're dragging the tracking point, you have to be sure to grab in this part. If you grab the middle, you're changing the middle, the center of the tracking point, the reference. But here is where you want to grab. I'll just grab this. I'll just move it to his head. What you need to track, if you track the player, what's going to happen is here the player is going to turn around, so the number 7 is not seen. What I can do, as you can see, and the tracking is based on contrast, as you can see, the hair and the head probably is the best way to track it. We might have some issues, and I'll explain how you can correct them. Let's just put on the head, but what you need to do is just decrease the size of this. It will focus right on the head, so it won't move from the head. But this is the action area. In this area I want to make it a little bigger. Don't go over too much other parts, because here you can see where I have my mouse. You can see that you have a hand and some dark, and it might confuse with that. So let's see how it goes. Once you have the tracking, just press play to analyze. What you can do is zoom out so you can see a little better if the tracking keeps following the player. I'll just press play. As you can see here, now he jumped, you see, but you don't have to. I just stopped the tracking. You don't have to redo the whole tracking. You can just move a little bit where you see that it's still following the head. Here you can see it's following the head, and then it jumps. What you can do on this frame, you can go frame by frame just to make sure it goes where it needs to be. And sometimes when you do frame by frame, it gets better than just pressing play and grabbing everything. Another thing that you can see is it's rewriting all these keyframes that it's already made. I'll just go like this. Now I can probably zoom out, press play again, and I just want the tracking until he has the ball. Just a little more. You can see he still has the ball. I'll just press play. Okay, from now on I don't need the tracking anymore, because I'm changing player. From this point on I'm going to change to Bruno Fernandes. What I'm going to do, the tracking is made, and if you go here on the layer and you press the U key, what you can see is the all keyframes. all features that you have a keyframe, you can see the keyframes. And this is all I need for the keyframes, just to follow the player. From now on, from this point on, I'm going to do a new track motion. So you just click on track motion again, and it gives you a new track point in the new tracker. You have tracker 1 and have tracker 2. You can even rename this, and this I'll rename Ronaldo, and the second tracker I'll rename Fernandez. There we go. Now I'll just move on his head. I'll make it a little smaller also. Make this a little action a little bigger, and let's see how it goes from here. So I'll press play forward. It's there. It's not moving. I keep pressing play and stopping just to make sure it won't jump. There we go. Okay, it's fine. It's up until the end. This one got a little better, and here we go. We have both footage. So now what we need to do, you see that we are inside the layer. We need to go back to the composition, and what I want to create a shape like the ones that we use. I'll click outside here, because if you have this selected, you're going to create a mask. Now I'll just create this triangle, something like this. I won't use stroke. I'll turn it off. I'll use the fill, and what I need to do is now make it smaller also. Select the path, zoom in on this. I'll make it smaller like this. Okay, this is about the size that I want. It's fine, and I want to put it here. But what, you remember that we have the tracking on the head? If we want it like this and we want to connect to the head, what I'm going to do is the shape layer has this anchor point. And if you grab by the position, this is what's going to grab to that one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change to the pen behind tool. This is also the anchor point tool, and I'm going to move the anchor point to his head. So right about here, this is where the tracking is. Now all I need to do is on the shape layer, I can press P for position, and as you can see here, we have the tracking point in the feature center. All I need to do is not parent link the layer. I need to parent link the position. So it's not this one. I'll just grab the pick whip, this one, and connect it to feature center. As you can see, almost didn't move. And now what we have is this connected. So now we have it connected. If we zoom out, click it out, and here you go. So it's connected to the player. It's still moving a little bit. You see here where he moves his head because he's tilting down his head, but it's fine. We'll leave it like this. All I need to do now, from this point on, this layer here, you can zoom in with the Alt and scroll. From this point in, I want to move it to the other tracking. I'll press U again, double time U. I'll have the feature center for the Fernandez tracking point. Here on this layer, what I'm going to do at this point, I'm going to split the layer. So you can go edit and split layer, and what it will do, it will split the layer. Now you have shape layer 2 and shape layer 1. And this one on the position, it's still connected to Ronaldo, so I'm going to need to change it to this feature center, the one with Fernandez. And here we go. From this point on, you can see the changes from the player. It's that easy. If we press play, we can see it changing from one player to the other, and it's already good. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to write the text. The text, I'll press C, Ronaldo, and we put it right about here. And the easy part with this, I can also go here on this part and split layer already, okay? And this one, the first one, I'll just now grab the layer, the full layer, to the shape layer 1. If I do it like this, you can see, because the layer 1 is moving, the shape layer 1 is moving, also the name is going to be moving like that. And the second one, the second name, I'm just going to grab it. Here it is, second name. I'll put it here, and I'll just retype it, B Fernandez, and do the same thing. This one, this layer, I'll just pick whip to shape layer 2, and here we go. It's connected. It was very easy, this part, just tracking, putting the player, changing the player, and here we go. and we have that. Now we're going to do the circle that we want. I'll just use a shape layer, ellipse tool. I'll click outside so I can create a shape layer, and I'll just make a shape layer like this. There we go. I don't want to use the fill, so no fill. I'll just use the stroke, okay, like this, right about here, and what I'm going to use, okay. And I have to make sure that the anchor point of this layer, I'll select the shape layer 3, anchor point is at his head. You see, if we put it over there, now what's going to happen is, same thing, I'll go into the middle, the point where it changes, I'll split the layer. You can use the shortcut, it's Command Shift T, or in PC, Control Shift T, and we splitted the layer. In this one, the layer 3, I'll just parent and link to shape layer 1. And what you got is it's also moving with the player. Let me zoom out, and now you can see it following the player. There we go. For the second one, I'll do the same thing. I'll just position it. I'll grab it like this, put it around the player. But here you have to make sure that the anchor point is also on his head. There we go. So that when we connect to shape layer 2, almost didn't move. And now you can see it following the player. The changes that we need to make is, what I selected the layer, I went into contents, ellipse, stroke, and I did some dashes like this. And also what I did was I animated the offset. I'll create right about here and around about here in the middle, 150. I believe it's enough. Let's see the rotation, and now you can see it's rotating around the player like that. Same thing for this. For the second one, stroke, dashes, I'll animate from the beginning here till the end around 150. That's fine. And we can see also moving like that. One thing that you can notice is because the player is moving, it's not always centered to the player. Actually, the Ronaldo one is, but here on Bruno Fernandes, it's not. So you see him in the middle, but here at the end, you can see the legs. It's still centered to his head, but not centered to that. What you could do, because this is already connected, so if you grab his position like this, and you just move the position a little bit, you will animate the position like that, and it'll be centered. So it's fine. Just those 2 keyframes just to make it a little more centered. So now for the tricky part is to make this remove the player, so it's going to go behind the player. What I did was I made a copy of this screen, the footage. I made a copy. Let me just put it on top. And what I did, because this is grass, I use an effect for the keying, the key light effect. And what I did is I picked up key light effect. The screen color, I selected the green. And one way for you to use this and to see it is, instead of final result, you're going to screen matte. So here you can see what it's keeping and what it's taking off. So the taking off is the black, and what it's keeping is the white. So what I can do is tweak this up a little bit, because here the legs, this is where the point, if you turn that off, you see here's about on the shorts, you can pull it up, you pull it down a little bit so it will be in the legs. But also I believe in the other one I did this in 3D, but that's fine, we're gonna use it like this. What I need to do now is just make sure that the player is all turned off. So you can see the screen gain, I gave it a little bit, it tweaks like that, and maybe you can twist a little bit the screen balance. Then you can go into screen matte and clip white. You can put the clip white all the way down and the clip black all the way up. This way it's inverted. You don't need all the way up, but you can tweak this so it will make it something like that. But you can see the shorts still not there. Maybe we can use this spot black. No, this one is fine. So this spot white is doing a player like that. So we can play a little bit. It's still softening too much. Maybe we can pull back a little bit. And maybe for the replace method, I'll use the hard color. Doesn't do too much, but you can see over there the legs and the masking that's going to happen. Let's see for Bruno here, the second one, still removing the shorts a little bit. Let me check if I can. Yeah, I need to pull this up a little bit. Like this, I believe it's going to work better. Okay, so this is going to be the mask. For this layer, I just need to turn it off. And now for this layer, the one that has the circle, so the circle is the shape layer 3. I'm just going to rename it Circle Ronaldo and rename this Circle Fernandez. What we need to, in this, I'm going to rename it also Masking. Here we go. For the Ronaldo one, what I'm going to do is the track mat. If you don't see the track mat, maybe you have this turned off, this button here on the corner, and you see the track mat. And now what we're going to do is also pick whip the masking circle. But you see that it doesn't do anything because this little thing is looking for alpha, and we're not using alpha, we're using luminosity. So you just need to click once, and now you can see if you click once, it's masking out. You see where it's happening is masked out behind the player. And we just need to do the same thing for Bruno. Circle Fernandez, also masking, also one click to make it Luma instead of alpha. And there we go. And let's look at the result. And there we have it. All we need to do now, just to make this look more kind of a game, let's use a new adjustment layer. On this adjustment layer, we're going to effects, going to color correction. We're going to use the Lumetri color on the adjustment layer. In here, we're going to tweak some stuff like, for example, saturation. Make a little more, give a little more saturation. The exposure is quite fine like this. Some more contrast to make it look more gameish. And the highlights, maybe lower it down a little bit because it's too harsh. And the shadows, maybe like this. The whites, a little more brighter. Still need to look for this his shirt, it's white, and the black's a little darker. And if you go on creative, you have this sharpen that you can give the sharpen a little more just to make it like more definition. The vibrance of the colors, you see here, maybe not too much, and I believe this is quite good. You can see the difference before and after. Let's go crazy a little more sharpen and more contrast just to make it look different. So here it looks like this was a game made and this was the goal, and there we go. So I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Don't forget to leave a like or comment down below what you think about it. Have you tested or not? And also follow the channel for more tutorials. I'll have more tutorials like After Effects and all those tools, from creative tools, video wise, motion graphics wise, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.